We've all seen the commercials, the elegant holiday parties, the glowing pyramid of gold, marketed to us as the ultimate golden experience of sophisticated European luxury. But peel away that iconic golden foil, and what you are holding was never touched by a human hand. Look closely at this impossible multi-layered cross-section. No Italian pastry chef on earth can sculpt this level of microscopic perfection, because this isn't the art of baking. It is ruthless spatial geometry. It is a flawlessly cloned biological payload, engineered inside a sterile stainless steel labyrinth, where millions of identical spheres are pumped out every single day by cold, calculating robotic precision. To decode the DNA of this engineered sphere, you must first look at the phantom who built it. Enter Michel Ferrero. He wasn't a jolly Italian pastry chef. He was a highly secretive billionaire who hid behind dark sunglasses, commuted by private helicopter, and guarded his factories with the paranoid security of a fortress. No cameras, no visitors, just locked steel doors. He didn't just want to bake. He wanted absolute control. And his empire was built on a brilliant, calculated illusion. Born from the severe shortages of 1940s Italy. Back then, cocoa was a ghost, a luxury so rare it was essentially gold. So, the Ferrero family engineered a workaround. They turned to the dirt, hazelnuts. Back then, they weren't a premium ingredient. They were a cheap, abundant crop left scattered on the ground. They gathered this humble harvest, relentlessly pulverized it, and mechanically crushed it until the natural oils seeped out, turning it into a thick, dark, heavy paste. They used this cheap filler to stretch their microscopic cocoa supply. It was a desperate survival measure, mathematically disguised as high-end luxury. Today, that survival recipe has become a hungry leviathan. Giant industrial vacuums now scour the earth, sweeping orchards bare. Because to feed this endless golden river, this single corporation silently consumes nearly 1/3 of the entire planet's hazelnut supply. But a fluid needs a vessel. Enter the wafer matrix. Michel Ferrero didn't hire a master baker to create this fragile shell. Decades ago, he spent 5 obsessive years inside a locked laboratory, engineering a prototype machine that could bend a delicate wafer into a perfect hemisphere without shattering it. But what started as a single experimental machine has now mutated into a globally synchronized network of hyper-advanced mega factories. Today, this process is entirely devoid of human touch. This batter isn't gently baked. It is flash-pressed between scorching steel molds at blinding speeds, instantly locking the structure into a rigid, microscopic grid. Next comes the algorithmic injection. Thousands of surgical steel nozzles pump a mathematically precise microgram of that dark hazelnut paste into the hollow shells. This cream isn't just sweet, it's thermally engineered to melt at exactly 37 degrees Celsius, the exact temperature of the human tongue, designed to trigger an instant dopamine response, then the ultimate modern mechanical flex. Today, high-speed optical lasers scan every single hazelnut in milliseconds, filtering out any physical flaws. Then, a robotic arm drops exactly one flawless nut into the dead center of the shell. Not 2, never 0, Exactly one. Finally, the two halves are mechanically slammed together. A heavy concentric steel die drops down, shearing off the excess crust with absolute precision, churning out up to 24 million identical spheres every single day. The engineered payload is now complete. The naked spheres are plunged into a cascade of molten chocolate, then bombarded with a calculated storm of roasted hazelnut shrapnel. The iconic textured shell is formed. But the true genius of Michel Ferrero wasn't inside the chocolate. It was a masterpiece of psychological warfare, executed at the very end of the line. Watch as high-speed mechanical claws snatch the spheres and tightly wrap them in an ultra-thin foil. Not clear plastic, not silver aluminum, gold. Why? Because gold is the universal psychological trigger for wealth, royalty, and elite status. But wrapping a mass-produced ball of cheap filler in gold wasn't enough. Ferrero needed to brainwash the public. In the 1990s, he unleashed a hallucination. The legendary Ambassador's Reception commercials. They flooded televisions across the world with images of European aristocrats, grand pianos, and glowing pyramids of Ferrero Rocher served on silver platters. They programmed the middle class to believe this was the exclusive delicacy of billionaires and diplomats. The cynical truth: billionaires do not eat mass-produced supermarket candy. Ferrero wasn't selling chocolate to the rich. He was selling the illusion of high society to the working class. So why is it still so obsessively loved today? Because Ferrero perfected the ultimate retail trap. Affordable luxury. Walk into any supermarket. It's priced just high enough to feel superior to a standard candy bar, but cheap enough that anyone can buy it. Placed inside a clear plastic vault, it is the lazy gift giver's dream. A ready-made symbol of prestige that requires zero effort. We buy it today because of nostalgia. We buy it because of a Pavlovian response planted in our brains decades ago. You aren't tasting a premium Italian recipe. You are tasting a perfectly executed marketing algorithm. Look at this endless golden river. Millions of identical spheres flowing continuously into the dark belly of a global mega factory. The next time you peel back that iconic foil, remember what you are actually holding. You aren't tasting artisanal Italian history. You are tasting a mathematically calculated emotional payload designed to manipulate your senses. That is the Ferrero Empire, and that is how your reality is manufactured. If you want to keep seeing the dark truth behind the things you consume every day, hit subscribe. We reveal how things actually work. See you in the dark.